In today's video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about how this split in the MAGA camp about Trump's stance or possible position with H-1Bs. How is that going to go ahead and affect all of you who are trying to get a product manager job or is currently working as a product manager, but you're on an H-1B visa? My name is Rich. I'm one of the co-founders here at Product Gym, and we are going to get to it. So let's get down to business. For those of you guys who don't know, what an H-1B is, we're going to go out there and go through that quickly. I think if you're watching this YouTube video right now, you most likely know what an H-1B is, or you are already a H-1B visa holder. And again, you want to know how this is going to go ahead and affect you and your job prospects as a product manager. H-1B visa holder is usually a foreign national, sometimes more often than not educated in the U.S. Either they did their undergrad here or they did their master's program here, or they were at one point an international student. They're working in America, but because they do not have a U.S. passport or a green card holder, H-1B is a work visa that allows them to work here. Now, I do want to go out there and give a big disclaimer. I am not an immigration attorney. If you guys have more specific questions, you should go ahead and ask an immigration attorney. That's what I've been advised by my attorney to go ahead and say. But we all know that if you've worked in tech before, most likely you've had friends, coworkers, past colleagues that are on an H1. And more importantly, so is this over? Should I start packing my bags? How's this going to affect me? Should I even think about transitioning to product? Should I go ahead and wait? Overall, let's go ahead and talk about how this story kind of got erupted. We all know, or you guys should, and a lot of people that work in tech do know this one podcast, and it's called the All In Podcast. You basically have a bunch of investors and tech bros that are here, and they did an interview with Trump back in June. Can't believe the year just flew by this year. And if you really want to go ahead and actually kind of fact check them, 39 minutes, 30 seconds in, there is the topic of H-1Bs and recruiting global talent. Because all of these people here invest in tech companies. If you don't know who this handsome looking gentleman is, you really ought to go ahead and look him up. But I do have the quote, and it says, not this one right here, okay? Because he was asked this on the All In podcast. What I want to do and what I will do, this is actually very good in terms of wording, because there's what you want. We all want something, right? We can agree on that, but there's actually what we will actually do. So what I want to do and what I will do is, you graduate from a college, I think you should get automatically, as part of your diploma, a green card to be able to stay in this country. And the argument that they're making here is H-1B visa holders are highly skilled workers. They have specialized knowledge, usually in the world of engineering. There are people that work in finance too that also are H-1B visa holders. We've had tons of people that were on an H-1 working in finance that studied here from overseas, every country that you can imagine, and they wanted to transition to product management. We were still able to go ahead and make that happen because Product Gym is awesome like that. But this kind of has a little bit of conflicting narrative because okay, so didn't we say we were going to go and put America first? But these tech bros right here are no. To give you guys some insight about how big this impact is going to be, H-1B approved applications for initial employment in just 2024, Amazon is the record holder by almost 2x, above. They make up more than Microsoft, Google, and I think even Apple combined. But you got Amazon here that's leading the pack, Microsoft, Google, Apple. And don't quote me, but I don't know for Microsoft, but Google, I honestly think Sundar at one point was also on H1 himself, but don't quote me on that. Definitely do your own research. I would look it up, but I don't think it's a very good use of your time. But I think Sundar at one point was also on an H1 himself. So this has a lot of impact because these are people that could be making a very meaningful contribution. They have an American education. Some of them have American work experience, and they could be contributing towards the American economy. But if they're going to go back home, they might just go ahead and start another company, and that's contributing. That's hiring talent locally on the other side, and that's not good for tech. Having said that, though, wow, I was able to actually look at this before, but I guess I'm not able to pull it up. Musk and Vivek, they are big proponents of like H-1B visa holders and foreign workers, and like if we want to go ahead and build the best, we have to go out there and attract the best, be able to hire the best, and be also able to go out there and keep the best people. So what's the truth, Rich? Should I be worried? This is actually where I would really encourage you to go ahead and join my school called Product Manager Job Hunters United, because here's basically going to be the thing. Over the past 2 weeks, okay, I'm recording this video right now. Local time in the U.S. is December 27th, 1 p.m. in the afternoon on Friday. And you can see that in the past 2 weeks, pretty much every major tech company, Meta, Amazon, Apple, everybody has been lining up. Sam Altman from OpenAI have donated $1 million minimum towards Trump Inauguration Fund. And I think a big part of that conversation is like, yo, we're going to be able to go out there and keep our talent. Because if we want America to be number one in tech, America's got to be able to hire the best tech talent. And if America wants to hire the best tech talent, some of that tech talent is not born in America, and they actually are educated here. And we want to be able to bring the best of the best here. And I think that's a very solid argument. So regardless of like, I think a lot of H-1Bs right now, rightfully, I think like you guys should be nervous. But I want to go ahead. Usually, I'm always like trying to sell you, like, guys, I'm taking the program, right? But I want to go ahead in this video here. I think my brand has been built on being very transparent. When you're on an H-1B and you need a visa sponsorship, especially when you're working in tech, you don't need to be as nervous. Not saying that you completely shouldn't be. Like, you don't need to be as nervous, because if you actually have really good skills and you have a lot to offer, the company will come out there and they will back you up, because good help is hard to find. Good help is really hard to find. I don't care if you're looking for like a, shift manager at a Starbucks or at an Irish pub in New York, or even somebody to go ahead and just make sure all your deliveries are being made. Good help is hard to find. Trust me, I hire people to come and work for me. It's not easy to find good people. So as long as you're a little bit better than the average person that's working, you're going to be able to go ahead and get hired. Here's the thing that you have to be wary of, though. The advantages and disadvantages. When you're talking about the disadvantages, is you're going to have to out-interview. You definitely have to outperform, but you're going to have to out-interview all of your American counterparts. Why? Because let's talk about the pushback that you're going to get. The pushback you're going to get is really from HR. Because they're the ones doing all the paperwork. So you have the standard round 1 from the recruiter, you have the round 2, you have the round 3, then you have the round 4, and then they say they want to go out there and hire you. And then the head or director of product or VP of product, along with the team, goes to HR and says, we want to hire this person. And they say, okay, great, let's get the paperwork started. I'm going to grab my DocuSign up. We need to do an H-1 visa transfer. The problem there is 2 things. Number 1, nobody wants to do additional paperwork, because that's work that they'd rather not do. So the conversation is always going to go ahead and be, you're telling me that, even now with all the layoffs and everything, that we cannot find somebody to go ahead and do this, but this person, yes. And you want me to work an extra 2 hours this Friday? Yes. Okay, can I interview this person? H-1B visa holders almost always have one more additional round, just because they'll get some pushback from whoever it is that's going to be facilitating and coordinating that paperwork. And I was a recruiter before. I did not enjoy doing that. And that's not anything against this individual. It's just when you start taking a look at how many people you have to recruit for within a tech organization, and an extra 6 to 8 H-1B visa holders, you're adding that workload. It's like, recruiters are not getting, and HR departments are not getting paid more money. And it's not also because they don't want to do the work. I want to give you this level of clarity too. The regulations are constantly changing. So it's not just, okay, we got to go out there and, complete 119 line items and just check it off of the list. No, they're constantly taking things in, adding things on, and taking things out, and changing these procedures. So it's just work upon work upon work. So really, the only people that can afford to do it, and this is why it's how like a lot of H-1B visa holders, they get into, like when people take a look at my testimonials, they're getting into all these top level companies. Part of it is because our program is just that good, but the other part of it is these are the types of companies that have the legal firepower to do it. Like they have a whole team, a legal team that can facilitate this. This is not like I've hired some international students as interns here before, and obviously I'm from immigrant parents. The topic is very near and dear to me. I do a lot of talks on this for free in a given year. People don't believe I do anything for free, but I actually do. And there's been people that I've tried to keep in the country that I've really liked personally myself, that I thought was like, this is the best person I ever worked with in this domain. And that level of procedure, it is like, it's atrocious. I think it's criminal how difficult they make the process, but like a lot of the smaller guys, unless usually one of the co-founders was also on the H-1B at one point, and they don't really know how to, like, unless they actually, and it's not because they, like, number one, have sympathy, but they know how to navigate that process. It's like, it's not clear cut. It's not linear. It's not very clear where the line is from A to B. There's a lot of zigzags. And it comes down to really they want to do it. I have another story where we helped this one lady from Morgan Stanley transition to her first product manager job out of investment banking. That transfer took 4 months. We work with another person from Goldman Sachs. We have tons of finance people that want to get out of that, get out of the dark side and go into tech. That transfer process took 3 months. Now, when they initially go into it, do they think it's going to take 3? If they knew it was going to take 3 months, they're not going to do it. It was also like that for me too. When I was trying to hire somebody to be on our team full time and keep them in the country, it's like you think it's like a 2-week process. Sometimes it's going to be 3 weeks. Sometimes it's going to be 4 weeks. Sometimes it's going to be 5 weeks. It is crazy. Even one of my own personal friends, she finally, after I think 3 or 4 years on the H-1B, she works in investment banking as well. She finally got the green card. The clerk had filled out the wrong information, and she's got to wait now another 4 to 6 months to get it replaced because the government works so efficiently. So there's also the duration. That entire time, it does nobody any good. You thought you were starting the job in 2 weeks. You don't know when you should hand in your notice. You're emotionally checked out of your job as the candidate. But meanwhile, they were so urgent to hire. They were looking for somebody to start right now. We have an offer letter out, but we don't have a new product manager to start the job, right? So all of these different challenges, this is why, as an H-1B visa holder, the things that you have to go ahead and do, which is actually why you should be joining our program, is this. Number one, you got to go ahead and actually generate more interviews, get more interview practice, because your best chance is working for the bigger tier names, because they have the legal firepower to really go to bat for you, and they really know the process inside and out. And they're onboarding people at volume and at scale. If you go to the smaller shops, they're not saying they can't do it, but sometimes, a lot of times, they want to do it. They don't even know how, because they've never done it before. Okay. Last but definitely not least, one of the big advantages, on top of the fact that there is this stereotype in recruiting, I'm just giving you guys, not personally how I feel, but I'm just telling you how it is that they think, that people that are on H1s, they work a lot harder. They usually have a lot more skills. They don't have a lot of choice, and they don't leave as often because it's not very easy for them to do so. So my friends that are on H1 that are on the job, a lot of times they're actually working harder than their other counterparts, because they know it's like, what's that person gonna do? Quit? They can't. The criminal thing, I think, is like when they do get laid off, they got like 60 days, less than 60 days, to basically go ahead, either find a new job or unfortunately have to leave the country. I think that is absolutely atrocious how we're treating people. Like we should actually give them probably 6 months, because some Americans can't even find a new job within 6 months. So for all those different reasons, I can go on about this all day. Please schedule a call with us. We'll get you into the program. We'll help you get multiple offers. But these are challenges that you would have had to deal with even before the Trump administration. It wasn't even that much better during the Biden administration. Hopefully this time around, Trump keeps his word, because he said he would. He said he would, but we'll just really have to see, because you just never really know. But either way, they make the process difficult.